So China is in the middle of this absolutely massive push for higher education. But that raises a huge question, right? Will pumping out millions and millions of new university graduates actually guarantee a wealthier future for the country? Let's dig into that. You'd think it's a pretty simple formula. The more educated your people are, the richer your country gets. I mean, that's the belief that has driven policy all over the world for decades. But is it really that simple? Well, if you look at the whole world, the data screams yes. This chart shows a really strong, clear connection. As the percentage of a country's population with a bachelor's degree goes up, so does its GDP per person. You can see that line heading right up. It's a pretty reliable rule of thumb. But this is where the story takes a fascinating turn. Because when you zoom in on China, you realize it doesn't quite fit this neat global pattern. See that dot? That's China today. It's actually sitting way above the trend line. What that means is it's already a lot richer than you'd expect, just based on its current number of graduates. It's an economy that's been punching way above its educational weight class for a while now. And this really gets to the heart of the paradox. On one hand, China is producing a mind-boggling number of graduates every single year, more than anywhere else on Earth. But, and this is the key part, they still make up a surprisingly tiny slice of the total population. Just get a load of this number. Only about 7% of China's working-age population has a bachelor's degree or higher. For a nation we see as this economic juggernaut, that figure is shockingly low. So of course, Beijing has this huge, ambitious goal. By 2035, they want to nearly triple that number, getting it up to 20%. Now, if you just follow that global trend line we saw earlier, a jump like that should, in theory, send its per capita GDP into the stratosphere. So here it is, the billion-dollar question. Is that economic leap forward automatic? Does just adding millions more degrees guarantee a much richer China? Well, the answer we're getting from the source material is a pretty firm not so fast. Because even as education is trying to push the economy forward, there are these incredibly powerful forces, major economic headwinds that are trying to pull it right back down. And listen, these are not small problems. We're talking about a serious demographic challenge, a housing market in a deep, prolonged crisis, and what some call zombie banks that are basically being kept on life support. Throw in the ongoing trade war and this whole idea of economic decoupling from the West, and you've got a perfect storm. These headwinds are so strong they could completely cancel out any gains from education and just stall China's growth. But it's not just about these huge external pressures. There's also an issue brewing inside the education system itself. Because at the end of the day, just having more diplomas doesn't automatically mean you get more innovation or more growth. It really all boils down to what the system is actually designed to produce. In many open systems, the goal is open inquiry, it's critical thinking, the stuff that creates disruptive innovators. But in China's system, the heavy emphasis is on ideological supervision and conformity, and that risks creating something entirely different. And here's the fundamental risk. You end up training a generation of cautious functionaries, people who are really good at following the rules, instead of the bold iconoclasts who are brave enough to break them. And let's be honest, it's those risk takers, those iconoclasts, who you desperately need to solve the massive economic problems we just talked about. So what's the big takeaway here? What are we supposed to make of all this? Well, it leaves us with this final, really critical question for China's future. Can you really build a truly modern, innovative economy, one that can overcome all those massive challenges if the very people you're counting on to build it are being trained, first and foremost, to conform?